How's Daddy? I think it does, Connor. Hello, everybody. I'm going to pin my video. Just wait for everybody to come on. I love it. There's a lot of you guys here, which is great. I apologize again for the change in time, but judging by how many of you guys are on, I think it was probably a good change. But yeah, so I'm going to wait a few minutes to fully kick off. And while I am rambling here, I would love for you guys to use the chat feature below and let me know where you guys are calling in from. So go ahead, locate the chat feature. Let me know where you are calling in from. And I'm going to get started in just 1 minute, just waiting for people to show up. I know this can be a tough time if you have little kids. Elle is resisting bedtime right now. So I just handed her off to Nick and the boys are still awake. So sometimes these 8 o'clocks encourage me to put the kids to bed early, but never happens. So I'm going to go through. So we have Newton right next door, Natick, Newton right next to me, Boston, Braintree, Pembroke, San Diego, Celebration, Florida, Georgia, Long Beach, California, Needham. A lot of neighbors here. Hingham, Naperville, I may be pronouncing that wrong, Megan, sorry. Nolensville, Tennessee, Newburyport, Concord, Winchester, Boston, Andover, New York. I know you guys are my demographic in all these towns, but I always still love seeing you guys. And if you guys ever see me out, please say hi, because sometimes it's hard for me to remember all of your faces like via Zoom or Instagram. So a lot of times I don't know, but I remember all of your names. So please say hi if you see me. All right, let's kick things off. I've rambled for 3 minutes and Karen, you're in the city, girl. Good for you. All right. So one last straggler. Okay. All right, good. All right. My computer seems like it's I'm delayed. Is that delayed on anybody? Say yes if it is, or all right, so welcome to the Fast Road to Fat Loss, guys. Hopefully by now all of you guys have watched Amanda's training. Basically, there's some key principles. So I'm not going to cover all of this because hopefully watching and you are aware of it's intermittent fast, what intermittent fasting. The purpose of this call is through any questions that you guys have. And also a little bit, you guys are fine. Breaking up. Hold on. You guys see these. Know what I'm going to do? Hold on 1 second. Sorry. This has never happened to me. I am to force allow my stop. I just have a lot of things on my, hold on. Sorry. My computer was just acting slow. I probably should have restarted it. Scenario. I will call from my phone and that will be fine. I'm just quitting a lot of things. Hopefully nothing important is getting lost. Okay. All right. I think things are already moving a little bit better on my end. Okay, good. I sound more clear. Great. Well, you know, I'm going to quit Chrome. All my browsers. Okay. It won't quit Chrome. It's like you have too much going on there. All right, here we go. Okay. All right. Better. Great. Okay. So hopefully you've learned about intermittent fasting through Amanda's call. In this meeting, I'm not going to talk necessarily about the benefits because she already talked about it and I sent you guys an email. So hopefully you got that. What I am going to talk about is maybe some of the differences, why somebody might do the 12-hour fast, why somebody might do the 14 and why somebody might do the 16-hour fast. This week, your priorities are practicing that intermittent fasting. But like I said, that could be as little as 12 hours. I think that it is important to give your body a full 12 hours to not be digesting food, to have complete digestive rest for a lot of benefits aside from fat loss. Okay. So I think that everybody here can do a 12-hour fast. That looks like stop eating at 8 p.m. and then you would break your fast at 8 a.m. the next morning. I think everybody can do that. When I did the program originally, I was 6 months postpartum after having Connor and I did 15 hours. Once I got to that 15 though, I was hungry. And so now I'm 39 and I eat when I'm hungry. That's usually between 12 and 14 hours, but sometimes it's 15. Here's what the right fasting window for you is. Okay. If you've never done it, start with 12 hours. Okay. If you are nursing, trying to conceive, or expecting, you're going to go with a 12 to 14 hour window. If you have done intermittent fasting for a while and you're breastfeeding and you're like, I can do a 15-hour, go for it if you have experience doing it. Start with that 12, bump up to 14, see how you feel. If you have Hashimoto's, if you have hypothyroidism, I would also recommend sticking with that 12 to 14-hour window. If you are over the age of 45, past menopause, perimenopause, again, you're going to be in this magic 12 to 14-hour window. Now, you may be like, why do you have a 2-hour window? That's kind of a big window. Honestly, I'm a big believer in that. I want this program to be something that becomes natural for you. And I don't want you to feel like you're restricting yourself. I don't want you at 12 hours to be like, I am really hungry, and push that off 2 hours until 14 and you're uncomfortable. So I want this to be something that just comes natural. It is second nature. It becomes habit. For me at this point, I wake up, I have some water. I will then, got my nice Stanley. Somebody sent this to me, the ugliest color known to Stanley makers, but whatever. I have a shot of espresso and I add unsweetened vanilla almond milk. Okay. So what breaks your fast? Under 50 calories. This was either in the group today or it's coming in the group tomorrow, or we already posted it. Under 50 calories, no sugar, no fiber. If you Google this, you're going to get a lot of answers. Okay. There's a lot of research. There's a lot of people who have different opinions on what breaks a fast. So you can either go on a crazy internet search and drive yourself crazy because everybody conflicts each other, or you can just go with what we say. And we say that under 50 calories, no fiber, you're good. So I like to go with that. That is what I do. That works for me. So that means that I add unsweetened vanilla almond milk to my espresso. I make like a little latte. Black coffee is preferred if you really want to be, like really strict with the program. Black coffee, herbal teas. I recently have gotten into like the powdered like mushroom stuff, those adaptogen type things. That would be okay. But again, under 50 calories, no fiber, no sugar. So some of you may be like, ooh, egg whites. Yeah, sure. Under 50 calories, no fiber. I don't recommend doing that all the time, but if you're struggling to hit 12 hours, that might be something that could get you to 12 hours. Who is the 15 to 16 hours for? Everybody else that I didn't mention before, which is probably a decent number of you, but this is the midlife mayhem round. Not all of you probably consider yourself part of that, but to reduce the stress that we place on our body, we don't recommend going over the 14-hour mark. You'll see in Amanda's trainings and everything that Faster Way headquarters traditionally promotes a 16-hour fast, but a lot, myself included, and a lot of the top coaches, we like the 14-hour the best, 12 or 14 hours. Since you're in the midlife mayhem round, I'm going to say that's probably the gold standard. If you are a intermittent fasting champion expert, feel free to try doing the 16 if you'd like. I don't believe there is a lot of harm there unless you have like undiagnosed hypothyroidism. So that is that. Does anybody have any questions about what window they should do? Oh, and if you're a night nurse, I have a spreadsheet, or not spreadsheet, but I have a cheat sheet for you that was created by fellow Faster Way coaches who were night shift workers. And I will share that with you guys in the Facebook group this week. Any questions on that one? Okay.
Can I say it louder?
Yes, no, I love when people unmute and ask questions. So much easier.
This isn't about sort of the fast window, but like how long is it intended to go? Like fasting, is it be well beyond the 6 weeks forever? Like, is it just meant to sort of reset you and then, you start to
Great
just
question.
integrate your habits?
Awesome question. And just a bump for the Facebook group. Like, this is the type of question that we'll get in the Facebook group a lot. So if you haven't joined yet, it's a great place to be, because like this type of question, which is awesome for here on the training, but like say you had this question tomorrow, you could always put that there and I would answer and everybody would be able to get to see. But some people like, they're like, what's the point of the Facebook? But anyway, I love that you're here. I love that you asked this question. It's a great question. But for anybody watching this, if you have a question like this tomorrow, just go and put it in the Facebook group under the daily post. But this program, we don't look at it as being a 6-week boot camp. We don't look at it like a Whole30. We do not look at it as like a cleanse. We honestly, and I am living proof, and a lot of the other coaches and clients are, we really do think this is a long-term like lifestyle. Like, I think that everyone here can do 12 hours. When I first started the program, like I said, I did 15 hours. And that was challenging for me. It wasn't natural. It didn't feel natural. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. So you know what I did? Stop doing it. I moved to a 12 to 14-hour fast. And now I stop eating around 7 o'clock, because that's, my family has finished eating and we start the bedtime stuff. And in the morning, I'm getting the kids out the door to go to school, and I don't have time to eat breakfast, honestly, if I wanted to, until 8 or 9 o'clock. And to be honest, I'm not even hungry at that point. And so the goal is to find a lifestyle, something that is easy. We're trying to build habits. We're trying to create sustainable habits for you guys that gives you more energy, that, for a lot of you helps burn fat. And also intermittent fasting has some really awesome disease prevention benefits. So that being said, if you love brunch with your family Saturdays, maybe you're just on intermittent fasting. Maybe you were out late on Friday and the next day you've got brunch with your family. Screw it. It's one day. I don't want anyone to feel like they're becoming restrictive because of this program. I'm encouraging you to adopt certain habits that I have found worked for me. And, I think I've had 2,000 clients at this point, and has worked for them. Now, I will say this program works for most people. I didn't say all people. I said most people. Okay. Every one of you is different. Okay. And, when we give you guys like your macros, at first they might not feel right. I don't know how much activity you're doing outside of the workouts that we have. You may think you're super active, but compared to, client B, who actually is really active, but thinks she's not, like the numbers just get kind of skewed. So I really encourage people to tap into their intuition. You're not going to find that if you do a Whole30, it's not changing your lifestyle. It's not changing your long-term goals. It's a quick fix. And then you go back and you do it again the next year. And by the end of it, you've binge because you've been restricting yourself for so long. So I encourage you to use the tools that I'm going to introduce to you. And the ones that don't work for you, don't worry about them. You don't have to use them. Okay. There are 4 or 5 tools that we're going to teach you. Intermittent fasting. We're going to teach you about macros and how to track them. We're going to teach you about carb cycling. Those 2 are next week. And we are going to teach you how to pair your workouts strategically with your macro cycle to burn fat for fuel. Now, if carb cycling doesn't work for you, don't do it. If tracking macros is driving you bananas, don't do it. I will give you alternatives to still be successful in this program, because I think each tool on its own is successful, is going to give you progress and results. So really lean into this and try to make it your own and find things that are sustainable, because we want this to be a long-term thing. I have clients who have been with me for over 3 years. I just gifted them all belt bags and coolers and all that good stuff. Any other questions? That was like a long answer. Sorry, Kayla. Yeah, Megan.
Will you touch upon, it's like here, my kids are older, so it's like prom, graduation season and all that stuff. And I've got every weekend parties and things to do for that. Will you touch upon going
Yeah.
out, or what do you do in those situations?
That's a great question. All right. So I'm going to use that to segue into the next part though. Okay. So priority number 2 is whole food nutrition. So I hate this saying, but I'm going to say it. That comes from the ground or has a mother. I'm going to be like a vegan in like another 20 years, but those types of foods are the kinds of foods that we want you guys to be eating. We don't want you guys eating really processed foods. I want half of your plate to be fruits and vegetables, honestly. Lean chicken, or chicken is lean protein, like chicken, like fish, ground beef, salmon, shrimp, quinoa, brown rice, sweet potatoes. We are not a low carb program. We do eat low carb intentionally 2 days a week. We'll talk about that next week. And that's why you'll notice the meal plan is like lower carb on Mondays and Tuesdays. Can you guys turn that down? Sorry. We do allow treats. Saturday is treat day. It's not cheat day, it's treat day. We want to be intentional. However, I have like a couple chocolate covered almonds all the time during the week. And it's not a cheat. Like, no, you can have that. Like, you don't need to ask permission. You're not bad for having it. We in the Faster Way believe in, we have 3 mantras: progress over perfection. Amanda said this in her video. Nobody's perfect. We're not expecting any of you to be perfect. So if what yesterday may have looked like, a pretty healthy day or nutritious day of eating, and then you ended up having like 3 servings of ice cream, but then the next day you only have 1 serving of ice cream, that's progress. Awesome job. Amazing. You were able to enjoy the ice cream and, stop at a reasonable serving size when you were full. Yes, this will be recorded, Kate. So we have this saying next: memories over macros. And what that means is we believe that when you are on vacation, or you're at a wedding, or it's your birthday, enjoy the time, enjoy the celebration, enjoy the experience of the food. That's what it's there for. Food and family and tradition are so like put together as one. We do not believe that you need or should be restrictive on these occasions. Where we get into trouble is when it's like every day is one of those occasions. And especially if you're in this like high season where you have, proms and graduations. The tips that I would recommend to that, and I know there's a lot of you guys that have vacations coming up, and I was like, that's to me not a reason to not do this program, because I do think it's sustainable. I do think it's something you can do long-term. I would say on those days, stick with your intermittent fasting window, get in your workout, drink lots of water. Before these events, load up on lean protein, fruits and veggies. And then when you're there, who cares? Eat whatever. I joked that this weekend I was on like a fried potato tour. I was in Portland and I had French fries. Literally, that's it for lunch on like Thursday or Friday. And then on Saturday, we were at another event and somebody else had like fried latkes. And this morning, I never weigh myself. So we don't weigh ourselves in this program. But of course, I'm normal. I had to weigh myself and I actually lost weight. So I'm only sharing that with you because I think that your body sometimes needs almost like a reset. Like, you can't eat in a caloric deficit long-term and expect to see continued progress. So in VIP, which is where you go into after these 6 weeks, if you choose to continue, we have things called feast days where you actually eat 25% more calories than you regularly do. And the reason behind that is to almost turbocharge your metabolism, keep it responding in a healthful way. Because if you restrict calories for such a long time, your metabolism is going to slow down. And again, this is the midlife mayhem round. So a lot of us are coming in thinking, oh, I'm supposed to be eating 1,200, 1,400 calories, when that's actually in reality way too little for us. And that's causing stress on our bodies. And in turn, it's slowing down our metabolism. So here in the Faster Way, we actually tell clients to eat more than they're used to. And I find that in situations like weddings or graduations, if you were to actually track what you eat, you wouldn't be eating all that much more than your body wants or should be. So practice the memories over macros. You know, I always say this thing, it's like if at the graduation there were like Oreos, I would say, don't eat the Oreos. You could go home and have Oreos. You could go to the store and get Oreos. But if, you know, there's some special baker in town that made these like delicious, you know, cupcakes that you're never going to be able to have one again, that's what you want to have, you know? And I think at a lot of these events now too, like there are nutritious options. You can eat lean protein. You can eat fruits and vegetables. The only thing that I find that's hard sometimes is like a good carb, because it's like, you know, crackers or bread, and good carbs are hard to find. And like I said, we're not a low carb diet. So sometimes the carbs can be tricky. So I tend to rely on fruits in that context. So I think I answered that question, Megan, kind of, right? And I'll touch more about it on that. So whole foods, some of my favorites, I said them, love fruit. Do I eat processed foods? I do. A lot of our recipes call for protein powder. Faster Way has a protein powder. My favorite personally is Orgain. I like the simple version. It does not have stevia or monk fruit or anything like that. It is sweetened with real sugar, but it doesn't have a lot of additives. That's just my personal favorite. Again, in the Facebook group, if somebody wants to ask that question, and everybody can share what their favorite protein powders are. In the Faster Way, we have a meal plan that you can follow, or you can use it for inspiration. I would say most of my clients use it for inspiration. And I will put an asterisk next to the meal plan, and that they need to update some of the recipes that you guys have, because you may notice they have a little bit of like a fall autumn vibe, not fall autumn, but like winter vibe. They need to update it. Thought they would have it for this round, but so use it as inspiration. If there's a smoothie, feel free to make a smoothie you love. I love the Costco frozen bags that have like spinach and fruits. Feel free to do that. Feel free to be simple. Grill a bunch of chicken, make some brown rice, have some steamed broccoli, add a favorite little sauce. You don't have to be super creative if you don't want to be. Keep it simple. I'm going to be here to kind of provide you guys with some of my favorite recipes that are easy to do, but just make food that, you know, you're cutting up the sweet potato, you're pouring on the olive oil yourself. You know, you're not opening necessarily like a frozen bag every night and throwing it in the roaster. You can do that. I do that on occasion. But you know, I love cauliflower gnocchi from Trader Joe's. I obviously did not match that cauliflower and make my own pasta. So when you do eat things that are packaged, aim to have things that are minimally processed and fairly nutritious. Banza pasta, that's a processed one. My favorite bars are Aloha lemon cashew, but all the Aloha bars are awesome, but they have about 15 grams of protein, which is great when we start talking about macros next week. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, I didn't say. So our meal plan is dairy and gluten-free. This is recommended, but not required. I have actually recently started adding in dairy myself, just to help me with my protein goals. When we do the macros, I'm going to have most of you hitting a 40-30-30 split, which just means that 40% of your calories are coming from carbs, 30% are coming from protein, and 30% are coming from fats, unless you're a vegetarian. I am okay if you want to add in some dairy. The reason why we are dairy and gluten-free is because a lot of the sources of dairy and gluten in the US do come from not great quality sources. If you are going to do dairy, I recommend organic, full fat. And when it comes to gluten, I would recommend, you know, a good quality source. I like Iggy's bread. I know we've got a lot of local ladies in here. I love Iggy's. I think they have great quality. There's no sugar in that bread, or a sprouted grain like Ezekiel. And if you go to the best Italian restaurant, have that pasta. Memories over macros. But for the most part, we are gluten and dairy free. Your treat, I don't care if it has gluten or dairy. Okay, any questions there? Feel free to just unmute yourself.
You
Yeah.
said full fat yogurt?
So I like full fat personally. When we start tracking macros, sometimes I have clients who struggle to stay below their fat. And so if you want to play Tetris, then you can go low fat. But I find, and research supports, that the lower fat tend to cause the sugar cravings and stuff like that. So I do like full fat personally, or I try to do as close to it. Like, I think it's like 4%. Maybe that is full. But I like Siggy's. That's kind of my favorite one. But there's other good ones. Siggy's is just the one that I prefer. It seems to be the most minimally processed, but you won't find dairy or gluten in any of our meal plans. But if you are a vegetarian or you don't eat a lot of meat, it may be a helpful place to get that. And especially for our perimenopause, menopause women, the dairy is definitely something that's beneficial. Anna, don't worry. I just saw you like get embarrassed. Okay. Anybody, any other questions? No? Okay. All right. Last thing I'm going to talk about quickly is water. You guys all probably know this. A lot of us are not drinking enough water, and as a result, we tend to feel lethargic. It can really mess with our energy. We also believe that drinking enough water allows our body to perform all the functions that we needed to perform more optimally, and therefore will help us burn fat for fuel. So we aim to drink about half our body weight in ounces. If you don't have a nice big water bottle that you enjoy, now might be the time to grab one, but I'm sure you guys all have them. But I am not going to be a stickler being like, make sure you track your water. I'm just going to let you know that if you're ever feeling tired or you have headaches, especially this week, as you start to kind of stop eating processed foods, your body naturally is going to go into this like detox mode. And so just make sure that you are drinking plenty of water to flush it all out. Stay hydrated. That's one of the most important things that I find. Sometimes you may be, just off your game, and it just could be that you need more water. Some people ask about supplements. I haven't been huge into supplements until recently because I am deficient in iron. I think I'm deficient in like vitamin D and other stuff. So I do take a multivitamin. This is not part of the program. But if you are interested in, a vitamin or anything like that, let me know. I do find that when I take a supplement that has iron, because I tend to be like on the anemic level, it helps me with my energy as well. Brain fog, fish oil pills, those help me to help prevent brain fog. Again, this is not part of the Faster Way program. This is just me, Sarah, talking to you guys about some of these midlife mayhem things. And what else? A good probiotic to help you guys stay healthy. You don't need that, but these are just the things that I've recently incorporated into my routine as I'm 39 and approaching all these fun milestones. This is the midlife mayhem round. So we will be supplementing with bonus hormone resources. The first training, I believe, is Wednesday. Everything is recorded. So if the timing doesn't work, it will be sent out to you. And if it is a headquarters thing, it's probably pre-taped and you're not going to be able to interact like these meetings with me. I really want you guys to participate. I want you guys to ask questions because that way I can help you guys. This is what I love to do, and I can only help you if you stay engaged and show up and let me know how I can help you. Okay, I think that's about it. And I said, we don't weigh ourselves. Everybody got that? We don't weigh ourselves. So everybody take a before picture for your eyes only. That's fine. But wear an outfit because a lot of times muscle weighs more than fat. And I am like the same weight that I was when I honestly was like, 5 years ago, but I'm 2 jean sizes smaller, but the scale is the exact same, but I have way more self-confidence and I feel so much better about my body. But if I was just going by the scale, I wouldn't know it. Okay. So make sure you take pictures. And they can be for your eyes only, or if you make huge gains, you can send them to me and I can share them for you. Question, is the water intake half body weight in ounces or 100 ounces? Half your body weight in ounces. So I am 140. So my goal is 70 ounces. I probably drink 80 or 100 because I drink like a lot of these. Sorry, I needed a water pause. Anybody else with any other questions? Does herbal tea count as water? Sure. If it has caffeine, questionable, but herbal doesn't have caffeine. So yes, that does. Because the caffeine sometimes, who's raising their hand? Just unmute yourself. I can't tell who it is.
It's me.
Oh, go
Hi.
ahead.
Do you have any recommendations? Like, I tend to get a low blood sugar in the morning, especially if I work out early in the morning, like I need to eat right away afterwards. How do I manage that?
So I should have actually said this. If you are one of my are you a 5 a.m.er? Do you work out at like 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m.?
Oh, heck no. But like, even if I work out at like 7 or 8 and I don't start eating until 10, then there's
Yeah.
still like 2 hours in between.
So I would say do 12 hours then. So if you're going to work out, and I should have said this, if you're one of my 5 a.m.ers, then I would definitely do 12 hours. I will say this, some of my fellow coaches, they will even recommend some of their clients have like half a banana with like a teaspoon of peanut butter before their workouts. So if you are someone that does not feel good and again, try to keep that 12-hour fasting window. If that cannot be done, then I get it. But for some of you, you may want to eat like half a banana and a teaspoon of peanut butter to help regulate that blood sugar so that you don't feel icky. A lot of my clients, however, don't feel great in the morning because they're not eating enough the day before. So their bodies really are just like famished and not feeling great. So this week, I tend to have clients struggle the most with their fasting window because we're not tracking and they're just used to eating the amount that they were before. So this week is kind of like, oh, I don't like intermittent fasting. I don't like how I feel. But then once we get to week 2 and they start tracking, they find it to be so much easier. And it does take a little bit of an adjustment. But I think that if you are someone that feels that way, feel free to do a half a banana, a little bit of peanut butter or something else that you like. That's like kind of my go-to because it's just easy to make. But yeah, is that helpful? When we're in our eating window, is it more important to hit our macros or eat when we are hungry? That's a great question, Zoe. So I'll talk more about this next week, but I want you to hit your macros. But if you are not hungry, I don't encourage you to eat, but eat at least 12 to 1400 calories. Most of you are going to have numbers like 1800 calories that you're going to be eating. But if you're not hungry, then don't eat to eat. If you've been consistently under eating for a long time, we're going to slowly increase your calories, not so that you gain weight. No, we're increasing your calories to improve your hormone function, to improve your body's overall. We want it to function optimally. And by doing that, we need to properly fuel it with enough of the right nutrients. And by doing that, we hit our macros. However, if you're not hungry, I'm not going to ask you to eat, because if you remember in the beginning, when we calculate your macros, I'm going to ask you how active you are, and your perception of being really active may be different than somebody else's. And, since I'm not there tracking every step, seeing what you're doing, it's hard for me to know exactly. So in the end, I want you guys to follow your brain's cues when you're hungry and when you're full. And my goal, and this is kind of Akila's question, is that honestly, my long-term goal is that I want you guys to be able to hit your macros intuitively. My long-term goal for all of you is not to track macros forever. Now, I would love for you guys to track macros for 6 weeks. And then at the end, be like, I can hit these macros in my sleep. I do not need to track anymore. I am in tune with my body and I can eat. And that is my goal for you guys. Okay. Next question, Nancy. What does treat day look like? It is a full treat meal, regular meal with a treat snack. It's usually like a treat. So like for me, I love donuts. We went to Maine. We got Holy Donut treat day. Awesome. We went to Maine the day before. We had multiple treat days. French fries. Some people, it could be a margarita. It's a treat. It's not like, the steak bomb. If you wanted a steak bomb, you could do that, but hopefully it's not, because a steak bomb would be like 3000 calories. And we do want you to try to track it. I'm not going to make you track the treat day, but I do encourage you to do it, because I find that when you do, it mentally sinks in when you're at the end of the day and you're like, oh, I hit my macros and I'm full and I had this awesome treat. Like, wow, how great is that? That my body knew that I had something that was a little bit more indulgent and I'm just like full and happy and fine. Like I can fit things that I love into my diet and still see results. I think I answered that one. Kayla asked, the app recommends we work out on certain days. If we're traveling for work, is it possible to shift days? What days are on off? Great question. So we do cardio, HIIT workouts Monday and Tuesday. We do strength Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. Feel free to shift around the strength days. So you could take a rest day on Wednesday and then you would shift arms to Thursday. You would shift full body to Thursday, arms to Friday, and then legs would be Saturday. Alternatively, you could do Thursday, take it off. So then you would obviously do your full body Wednesday, Thursday rest, Friday would be full body, Saturday legs. If you are one of my runners, your long run day will be on Saturday. The rest days, you don't have to do the rest day workouts in the app. I tend to just go for walks or I do Peloton yoga. That's what I do. But the cardio HIIT days should be back to back on low carb intentionally. I'll talk about that next week and I'll talk more about the workouts the third week. If you want to jump ahead, you can always go into your app and you can go under resources and watch the video for week 2 and it might give you a little insight into that. Christine said, what are my thoughts on fiber? I've been reading that upping your fiber intake is important during perimenopause. So our fiber goal is 25. I think that's a pretty high goal. I think that if you hit it, that's awesome. If you don't hit it, don't stress about it. We believe that most of your food should be coming from real whole food sources. And if they are, you should hit your fiber goal. Meg, if we have workouts we currently enjoy, how do we continue to incorporate them? So our strength workouts are going to be on regular macro day. And this is something that I'll talk about next week a little bit more, but I would prioritize your strength workouts to Wednesday, Thursday, or Saturday, the regular macro days. And if you have something that's a little bit more HIIT, more cardio, something like a berries or an Orange Theory, Monday and Tuesday. I have 2 minutes left. And I actually want to talk about this very quickly. For those of you who are in this midlife mayhem and you may have some hormonal imbalances, especially if you have hypothyroidism, we highly recommend not doing more than 1 hour of super intense HIIT a week. Okay. We intentionally only have 2 30-minute HIIT workouts in our program. And I have a lot of clients that when they struggle to lose weight because they have hormone imbalance, they up the cardio, they up the intensity, and they'll do like double sessions at Orange Theory or berries. And it actually has the opposite effect of what you want. So extreme workouts like this place stress on the body. Of course, all workouts place stress on the body. That's fine and normal. But as we age, too much stress is what is going to wreak havoc on our hormone function, our hormones, our thyroid. And as a result, it's going to be even harder for us to burn fat for fuel. And we're going to struggle to lose weight. So if you are someone that suspects you have hormone imbalance, you might have like a low, slow thyroid, doubling down on these crazy HIIT classes is not going to give you the results that you want. Instead, we recommend that my clients who have hypothyroidism cut out those workouts altogether, to be honest, if you have signs and symptoms, and instead replace them with walking or yoga or something like that that's not getting your heart rate high crazy, because that is going to place a lot of stress on your body that is already undergoing a lot of hormone changes. So with this round, if you do have other workouts that you enjoy and they are pretty typical strength training, continue doing them. Awesome. But I really want to make sure that you guys are hyper aware of the effects of overtraining, especially if you're someone in this perimenopause, menopause phase. I will talk about that more. Zoom's going to kick me off in 30 seconds. So I will follow up later this week with another Q&A because it seems like we do have a lot of questions, which I love. This is amazing. I love when I have an engaged group. I'm so pumped that there are 32 of you on this call. There were more, but I will send out this replay. If you have any questions, put it below this video in Facebook. Always put your questions below the daily thread. And myself and I have like a very small team of like 2 people. And we will get back to all of the questions. But I'm super excited for you guys. Thank you for joining me. I apologize for the change in time and I will see you guys later this week. Enjoy your workout tomorrow. I usually do Peloton on Tuesdays. But y'all saw that. Okay. All right. Bye guys.
Thank you. Thank you.